We'll call this meeting of the Brown County Commission to order. Commissioner Hanson, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is our truck out here?
Now, why are they waiting for you?
They're waiting for dirt.
Yeah.
Got something going on?
County's finest out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just picking up that last little bit of snow over there.
Really?
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be more.
Yeah, but that's a spot, which I might even talk about today a little bit, the parking lots. You can't see what's going on underneath there. And then we always pile the snow in the low spot, and it's pinned up against the museum. We probably should do that a little differently, but...
Want to start with that?
No, we'll come back to it.
Okay. Right away for NWPF.
Yeah, this one's kind of interesting. Back, end of November, beginning of December, Dwayne called me and said, hey, they're out here putting a gas line in along Richmond Road. And he hadn't remembered that because he's hypersensitive to that road. He figured he'd remembered if someone was going to put the gas line. So he called me, and which was kind of weird because Northwestern is never anybody that they rarely get anything out of order when they're putting stuff in. So anyway, I called them, and after the fact, in the beginning of December, they sent me the right-of-way occupancy for it. And I got to be honest, sat on my desk a little bit, and then I'm like, well, it's already put in, so I wasn't in a big hurry. Well, now they've sent it to me again. So this is retroactive. It's already installed. And I don't have a problem with it. I've talked with them, and like I said, it's a little out of character for Northwestern. Usually they're, no issues at all. So I recommend it for approval after the fact, and if you guys have an issue, that's fine. I understand.
There's no problem with what they did, though.
No, and we never have really.
No, they've always been good. So.
It's just the timing of it and whatnot, so.
I would move it.
Motion from Fishback,
Second.
second from Feldheim. Any questions on
What's
that?
your other choice? Make them take it out?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
The guy building the new house would probably get a little upset.
Right, and I gotta be honest, I know these seem like they get kinda rubber stampy, but if it's someone that we've had issues with, and there are two, I won't say who they are, one's not from anywhere around here, and that's from 10 years ago, but it would be different. But like I said, I give them the benefit of the doubt that it was just an oversight at the time.
Sure.
Thank you.
Then we've got the purchase of a used tractor.
Yeah, that's kind of been an ongoing deal, as you know, ever since the $5 tractors went away. So we've kind of been looking back and forth for about the last 2 or 3 years. Now, last year, we did okay because a lot of hay was put up, a lot of ditches were, that's such a huge part of it, is if the ditches get baled and how many hours we end up committing. Last year we had those $5 tractors. We put about 1,500 hours total on them is what happens. So we've been trying to come up with the equivalency of that ever since. Last year we bought that little one from the surplus from the airport, and so we've been shopping ever since, and we came into one that's fairly late model, and it's under $50,000. I want to discuss our tractors a little bit. If you look at this, you can see we've been pretty lucky. All these are good, usable, regardless of the number of hours on them.
1,900, huh?
Well, we were talking about that, and I have to go back.
I mean,
and
19,000.
Yeah, I had to go back. I got to go back and dig out some of my old mileage stuff from my first stint and look to see if the odometer got changed in it. And I wasn't even aware that those the 97s and that let's see, I wasn't aware we bought those used. But the lowest hour one we have is the one we bought from the airport last year. This particular one is right below the bid limit, about 49,000. It's 2014 6130. It's got 1,250 hours on it. It's big enough to pull a gang mower.
It's a little smaller than these.
Yep. It's 130 horse. It's got 105 on the PTO. That 6410 that we got from the airport at the top of the list there, we use that to pull a gang mower, and that is about as maxed out as you want to get anything, that particular one. This one's just a titch bigger than that on the PTO end of it. I have about 18 to 20,000 I was expecting to spend on renting some kind of mower, because our numbers are more in that 18 to 20 bucks an hour range as opposed to $5 a year. So I would request, I can make it work within the budget. I'd use the rental money to pay for it. So I'm just requesting, or I'd like to ask for permission to purchase that.
And you keep all 5 of these?
Yeah, we're keeping
Just
everything.
adding to it, okay.
Yep. Yeah, and then, you know, one of those has always got the boom mower on it, so that doesn't ever get involved really in the regular cutting. It's always doing sloughs and steep ditches and that kind of thing.
Which one is that?
Let's see, it's those 6640, it'd be either 4 or 5.
Okay.
The 6400 with the front wheel assist. And this one has front wheel assist too. I'm not gonna go back to not having one of those again.
Me neither.
So,
All right, any questions on that?
I'd move to approve.
We got a motion from Sutton,
Second.
second from Fishback. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
okay, now are we to the department update area?
We are.
Just a few things we got going on. First thing I wanted to see, I neglected to send a travel request for 4 guys to go to Miller on Thursday. It's a LTAP training. We sent a couple guys there last year. It was in Redfield. And it's just, I got a little itinerary if anybody wants to look at it. It's, LTAP puts it on, and it's pretty generic. But, I wanna send our 2 newer blade guys, because they do a really good job at this thing of just like blading 101. And the reason I'm bringing it up now is I didn't send in a travel thing, but this is for Thursday. It's a free deal. And actually, they set it up for the 2 to 4. There is stuff that's kind of more geared towards commission with the 5-year plans and consultant selection, if you guys were interested. But, you know, 4 hours of driving for 2 hours of that, I didn't know if that would be worth it.
Maybe they can just pick up an extra packet for us.
I can actually get it. I can just get it sent here, too.
Not to us?
Yeah.
Sure. Does anybody have problems with that? All right.
I don't.
Do you want me to add it to this week?
That would be
or-
great.
There's their names.
Okay.
Thanks. We do have a little flooding. We got the hall crossings closed, or in the process of closing the hall crossing. There's water going over it. I would guess that a lot of it's ice jams. I mean, you still gotta let everything work its way through, but I noticed all the gauges are jammed up. So, we probably got, you know, obviously we got some areas going into flood stage, but it's probably due to ice jams. We're gonna go have a look, run up the river here when we get done with this.
You go to this too, Dirk, or not?
I was gonna, but, I'm a little short on people on Thursday, so I'm not gonna. I've been to it before. I thought about it, the 5-year plans, I feel pretty good about that. The consultant selection procedure changes, I was on the committee that kinda changed that, and that's more for how consultants get on the approved list for the DOT. A little more about funding and ER process. That's probably something that I need to touch up on again if we have flooding and have to do that, but again, I can get that stuff, so.
Did you
okay.
say Halls is closed, or it's going to be?
It's closed, we're in the process right now, hauling the
Okay.
barricades up there, so, we should report it through the chain of command here so everybody knows. Just in general, what we're doing, we're hauling gravel. We gotta kinda rework where we're going now, 'cause load limits are on, so you have to shift to the other roads that you can get to. We'll start hauling P-rock from Summit in the next couple of weeks. At some point, I'm gonna wanna move 4 guys to 10-hour days, so we can get 12 rounds instead of 10 rounds in a week that way. the parking lots that we're driving around and looking at them. If we have some time, which, you know, around here where load limits are on, I'm gonna touch up a few of these. We can do some graveling over here and make them quite a bit better without doing anything too crazy. Eventually, I'd like to address the corner west of the blue building. Directly south of the blue building is good. At some point this year, I'd like to put a harder, blotter surface in there to kind of hold it together, because that doesn't rut too bad. But the part in the corner over there, we'll have to let that sit and come up with some stuff. And I would also, at some point, like to mill this up and straighten out. There's kind of that direction in the back corner, there's some issues, and relay this parking lot and get it so, because that's from the halfway this way, or the back half is terrible, you know, there's just maybe the spot right here in the front that isn't too bad. So those are things I just want to see if we can work them in. If we have an opportunity to come up here for a couple of days and accomplish something, we'll notify everybody and try to do it in a normal fashion, so we don't have everybody having to park over at the RNA or whatever. But
Would you have to tear some of this out?
I'm thinking so. I would like to mill it all up and kind of compact it, and then when you do that, you can see where the problems are. I mean, it's right in the middle and going towards the corner of the library. It looks like where it's the softest. And I mean, I remember when they tore the building down and buried it. Anytime you do that, eventually it settles a little bit. But we have to do something aggressive, because otherwise that's what it's gonna be forever, unless you're gonna try to do something in there.
You better be wearing high-top shoes when there's water in that middle part, because
Yeah.
it's 6, 8 inches deep in there.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Coming off of, well, here, I'll come back to that one. We'll probably do some treeing. We also got a reclaimer disc to pull gravel back up off the road. I wish I'd have done it right when I got back, because we could have pulled it up on the asphalt roads that had gravel on them. You know, there's quite a bit of gravel in the ditch, but some of them have been fixed back to being asphalt again, so I'm not real excited about going along and pulling all that crap up on it. But on the other roads and on 10 going north, I think we're gonna find quite a bit of gravel we're gonna be able to pull out of the ditch with that thing. And then I'm also gonna use it to narrow up a couple roads that have gotten a little too wide. We'll start crushing pretty soon, probably in the next month, but now that's gonna be a lot of fun now that it's warm, because if there's any asphalt in there, you wanna crush it when it's cold. Goes through the things a lot better. Already talked about the training. Kind of coming off our discussion recently about plans south of town for 14W and different things. I'm gonna come back, you know, we did a little bit of this and that and threw out some numbers, but nothing is real locked down. I'm gonna try to put together a reasonable, organized plan, starting point, something. I'm not saying it's anything that's gonna happen in the next month. I mean, my plan might, but the work, because we kind of had a lot of little tales and who's obligated for what and all that on that deal. So I want to come back with a little better organized plan, and then we're prepared to, you know, have a reasonable conversation about what will happen with 14W.
Concrete, right?
Well, maybe a little. So that's something else, but I'll come back, instead of us sitting here throwing out numbers back and forth, and you know, come up with some drawings and some pictures so everybody knows what we're talking about.
Did he say, we was talking a little bit earlier, did he say that the beef was coming in and then coming south past Runnings and that way?
Yeah, there was a couple incarnations where they were trying to make Melgard over to the old highway and then a mile south in front of the sale barn and then come east. And that was, they were trying to avoid the Hale Mile. That was sort of what was going to stay at what time. And then whatever conversations came of getting the grants to do the concrete in front of the plant, I think kind of led to, well, what are you going to do with 14W then? And it seemed to move away from that route. But that's, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but if they have some inferred obligation on the other road, of course it's in their best interest to say, well, no, nobody uses that, they use this one and they use 10. But, you know, we should probably get some traffic counts and some reliability.
Coming from the east is kind of a pain for the people bringing them from the east.
Oh, yeah. And you know, we went through that deal exhaustively in the early 2000s trying to figure out what we were gonna do down there.
But I was saying, the only times I've seen trucks there, I went by there at 10:30 the other night, I could see 3 trucks over there, but I've never seen a truck pull in there in the daytime.
I haven't either. But I don't hang out down there that much. That's all I had for a department update. I want to go into exec for some personnel and, if we got a minute, and other than that, unless you guys have any more questions about the department, what we're doing.
Okay, any questions on the department update? If not, I'd entertain a motion to go into exec session. Is it for personnel, you said?
Yeah, personnel.
Move it.
Moved by Fishback, seconded by Feldheim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Your computer, is your getting updates, your computer?
So any other questions for Dirk as far as department head update? All right, well, thank you very much.
You bet.
Have a great day.
You too, thank you.
That brings us to the end of the regular agenda. Do you want to work on your list next, Dave?
Dirk brought in some contracts for the bids that were just awarded, so we need the blanket for the motion to sign them as they come in.
Okay.
So move.
Moved by Sutton, seconded by Fishback. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, minutes, February 14th.
Move.
Moved by Sutton,
Second.
seconded by Feldheim. Any changes or additions to the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move it.
Moved by Fishback, seconded by Hanson. Questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
There was a question on one, I think, on the Christmas party.
We took care of it.
Okay.
It's being sponsored by Show Click, so the money will be reverted back.
Oh, okay, okay, good. Okay, HR report.
Move.
Moved by Feldheim,
Second.
seconded by Hanson. Any questions on the HR report? Does that include the policy change then?
It's up to you.
Is the motion with the policy change?
I think we need to discuss the policy change.
Separately?
Yeah.
Okay, so without the policy change. Any questions on the HR? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, in the ordinance book, okay, 3 online. Did you, Rachel and Doug, did you want online or paper copy of the ordinance update?
Why don't you give me paper until I ask IT about rights to get on there and make sure that those updates
Okay.
are made, like what the current status is.
Okay.
We have to put them in our ordinance book?
We're talking about if we want to update the book or if we
Yeah.
want it just electronic.
Oh,
And
I see.
Maxine's one issue is how quickly it'll be updated.
Yeah.
I would go paper.
Okay, the other 3 online.
Yep.
It'll be okay, yeah.
Okay, fair contracts. It was a tractor pull.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Feldheim, seconded by Sutton. Questions on the contract? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
It was a lease agreement.
Move it.
Motion from Sutton.
Second.
Second from Feldheim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claim assignments.
Move.
Moved by Feldheim,
Second.
That's that claim
seconded
that
by Sutton.
we were,
For
that you brought
collections.
in?
That's
About
that collection
collections,
fund,
or-
yeah. $1,300 and some dollars.
Well, it did have a 10,000 one and then a 15?
No, this was
That's-
claimant.
Okay.
The claim assignment, not the subordination.
That's
Okay.
just asking to proceed
There was
with legal,
2
right?
ones there?
What's that?
That's the one they're asking to proceed with legal, that, yeah. The collection agency.
Oh, that one.
That,
Yeah, that one I'm fine with.
yeah, okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Then the subordination agreement.
Subordination agreement. Okay. Larry and I had visited about the subordination agreement, and, it's just for an easement.
Did they get back to us with something?
Yes, and,
Do they understand kind of our situation?
it looked okay to me,
Okay,
and we get the 2,500.
okay.
And they're still
We wouldn't have got
responsible for the rest?
2,500 without the document.
Yeah.
Are they still responsible then for the rest?
Oh, yes, definitely.
The names on there are.
Yeah, this just means the easement is protected if we sell, or, take the property for, the poor relief, but we've never taken property for poor relief. We don't take it. If there's a sale.
So who gets
we
the
get
money?
paid. We do.
We get the money?
Oh, yeah.
We get the money for the easement.
No, we get $2,500.
Now, and
Now.
if they later change hands,
Right,
then
and
we
if,
would get it. If it.
the deal is, the property is in a life estate of the mother, and there's like 8 children. And she did not research the finances of her 8 children prior to signing the life estate. One child has the liens.
Black sheep.
It's always one of those, isn't there?
Now, the $2,500,
That's-
will that go towards that debt then, that
But it's
lien?
real popular at Thanksgiving.
That's
So
what I was wondering.
there is a large one and a small one, will we pay the smaller one off?
Probably,
Okay.
but
And then
the
apply the
names will
balance
still
to the
be
rest.
protected.
Yeah.
The
But we are
gentleman is
getting that.
deceased.
Yeah, that's what my question was, whether who was getting the 2,500.
Yeah, the county to
That's
put
fine.
towards the lien.
I'd move it.
And the family is granting the easement to the
Right.
power agency,
Right.
and they were just concerned that the county's claim on the property might affect that, so we come out pretty good.
Yeah, that's fine. As
Okay,
long
we
as
got a
we know
motion from Fishback, is there a second? From Feldheim, any other discussion on it? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay, motion carries.
The 2016 financial report is complete. I will be sending it, the one sheet that goes to the paper next week for publication. The auditors are doing the preliminary work to see how entailed the audit would be before they come in for their, the conference to start the audit. We're still trying to determine if we need an A133. And as luck would have it, that limit was raised from 500,000 to 750,000. My preliminary figures put us over the 750,000. Because of the CDGB for 515, the ramp was 114,750, plus our normal stop violence, the highway safety, the emergency management, state and local agreement. Those, with just our typical ones, we'd be well below the 750,000, but with the CDGB and the timing of the grant, we may be over. Once that's determined, legislative audits will know how much time they'll need to spend. It takes an additional 2 to 3 weeks for an A133 audit.
When they come in, will they be asking us where we have concerns, want them to look, or have they already been directed?
No, they'll ask you. The only thing they're looking at now is the A133 to
Okay.
determine if they have to do it.
Preliminary.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions on that?
Also, I put a sample motion, the MD&A, that's the manager's discussion and analysis. That is an optional report. We have never done it. It's very time-consuming, and since it's optional, you have agreed not to have us do it. I brought a sample of the report in last year, and that it would be also in the motion that you choose not to complete the MD&A.
Maybe when you bring it, you can just walk us through a few bullet points of what you noticed that's, nothing official, but
Well,
what you want to highlight.
it's all in here,
Okay.
everything. I guess you could read the notes.
Because I'm assuming, is that what that discussion analysis is just highlight, low lights?
It's, I didn't print it out this year.
Oh, you don't need to, I just,
But this is the actual important notes. The MD&A, it's just statistical, highs, lows, you know, and it takes many hours to prepare.
sure. Can you email this to us?
Yeah, I'll scan it in because,
Sounds great.
What purpose does it serve for anybody?
none whatsoever. It's just, something the feds decided they wanted and, yeah. I don't think there's anybody in the state that prepares it.
Don't email it to me, I don't
Don't
get 40
email it
pages.
to me.
Me neither.
No, this isn't the MD&A.
This actually
Oh.
talks about the condition of the
This-
county,
this
where your
is,
finance
okay.
statement is.
The regular notes that go with the financial report.
But the audit's gonna tell us that, this is just an addition to the audit. When they're done with the audit.
MD&A is.
Right.
That, auditors don't even look at the MD&A. Yeah. They look at these though. They'll go through these, word for word. Yeah. No. I can sure email the reports and the notes if you wish.
I want to see them.
Okay.
Or I can make photocopies if it's easier too.
Well, that's okay.
But yeah, I'd skip on the MD&A, I think, unless
Okay.
anybody else has a problem with that.
That's already part of the motion that you
It-
proposed.
the
right?
sample
Right.
motion
Yep,
that I-
Yep,
And you want that passed today?
Yes.
Okay,
so moved.
moved by Sutton,
Second.
seconded by Feldheim. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, this partial payment of taxes contracts, there's two of them.
I'll move them.
Moved by Hanson,
Second.
seconded by Sutton. Questions on those? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
There's a memorandum of understanding for the sheriff's office. I was gone Friday afternoon, so I haven't seen it yet. It's satellite tracking of people. I'm not sure what,
Oh,
That's lease.
I'll move that.
okay.
I'll second it.
Motion by Sutton, seconded by Hanson. Question on that? So I was just trying, is it the 250 or the 350 that we're on the hook for if they break them? And I assume we just would charge that to them, but it's not much.
Yeah, we can charge it
Is it
back
the
because they pay
250 or is it the 350? Because is it a blue scan or is it a?
Oh, these are the papers.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, that.
So if they break them, we pay the, the $350.
I read it as 350,
Yeah,
that's the way it looks
That's
to
what it
me.
looks like.
Don't you know?
And then the South Dakota Sheriff's Association administrative fee is 2% on all purchases. Does that mean we paid,
Well, we don't, yeah, it's just a rental, so
what is
we're
this
only paying
2%,
for.
do you know? They administer it when we pay them, or this group pays the South Dakota Sheriff's Association administrative fee? I didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't.
Say anything about that, so I was just curious. Because it says the South Dakota Sheriff's Association administration
Right.
fee shall be paid within 60 days after the end of the
I'm
calendar
not sure what
quarter.
they're doing.
Yeah, that's what I was-
Besides, I don't know what the fee would be for.
Because their executive director signed this. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're in, but I guess I,
Have you
It's really-
not seen that contract yet?
Well, this is just the same one they sent us the last time.
I saw that.
Then
Is that the one Stacy
Yeah,
said?
that
Stacy Ackerman?
Stacy
Yeah.
signed, and then they said, well, that's all the counties do is sign their agreement,
So
and they're
why-
they're acting as administrator for the state.
so we wouldn't have to pay anything administratively? That 2%?
They didn't say anything about paying any fee to the association.
Have you seen
I don't know
this,
what
Terry?
they've been
I did,
administrating.
I have to tell you, I don't remember, I saw the 2%, but it wasn't clear to me
Who was paying who?
who's paying that. I don't know if the Sheriff's Association is getting 2% as kind of a kickback out of the total price, Well, if we add 2% to our $3.25,
Well, it's not like it's a huge amount, but I was just wondering who's getting what. Should I try to call him, or does it hurt to
You'd
wait one
probably
more
have
week?
to call that Dave, that's the administrator, if we were gonna call somebody.
Because
I don't
if
know.
it's
It
just-
seems odd that if the contract's between Brown County and the Association First Prices, why is there a third party
Yeah, I don't
involved?
know why.
Well, it's a blanket contract set up by the Sheriff's Association that we just kind of piggyback on. They set it up, and
Because I
who wants
asked that
to join.
specifically,
How
and
many
they said,
dollars
well,
are we
this is what
actually
the other
talking about
counties
here?
have been doing.
Well, it's $3.50 a day,
Yeah,
but that's a
it's just a
rental,
rental.
so maybe that's just boilerplate language, that if you purchase something, you pay 2%.
Yeah, maybe it
but
doesn't pertain
but
to us.
it may not
because
pertain
it
to
says
the lease.
2% on all purchases.
Right.
Yeah, we're not purchasing
Right.
anything.
I think it's just boilerplate information that if you purchase something, then you'll pay 2%. But I could be wrong, we need to check.
But I have Dave's number here if you want me to call him.
Were they anxious to get this today, or can we wait 1 week?
I don't think you have, well, I think they were ready to get it because they were gonna be ordering them, so they'd like it today, but.
The sooner they get it, the sooner we can
Should
get
we
it.
pass it with the contingency that we just check on it, make sure there's no additional fees on top of the 350? And if there is, we'll hold off, but if it's still just the 350, then sign it?
Or should we just call it quick?
Why don't we just call
Okay.
and see if we can get a hold of this guy?
If we can reach him.
Sure. On here? Or on here?
Mobile number, I might as well do it on the.
Do I need to get out? Voicemail.
Okay. So he ain't answering. I'll check with him and email
Okay.
it, but I don't think there's
Can we do a-
anything that we
Can we
get
do
charged
a
for.
motion with the stipulation, there's no additional hidden fees in the language that, can we sign it that way, Maxine, or do we have to know,
That's up to you.
or do you, what do you think?
I think you can do it on a contingent basis, but you don't want to let that contingency stay open too long.
Okay.
I mean, if by the end of the day you get it cleared up, then, you move forward. If not, you continue to next week, something like that.
Okay.
I wonder if Mark would know.
Yeah, I'm not sure easy. We can chat 501.
If you put the contingency in, it'll probably be gone before I have a chance to type minutes.
Sure. Mark, Rachel, how are you? Quick question for you. We were authorizing the contract with the group for the ankle monitors. There's some language in there about a 2% fee, administrative fee on purchases. Does that pertain to us, or is that only if you're buying them? Okay. Well, you sure can. We were gonna, we're about done here, but we were gonna pass it and then just put a little contingency on there that if there's a fee, we'll readdress it next week. We just weren't
Call
sure.
Stacy.
Yeah, you should be able to call Stacy and get an answer.
Okay.
I don't think I've got Stacy's number.
Okay, I appreciate it. Bye. He's gonna check with Craig, because he's not sure either. He said we contract through the association, so he thought it would be through them, not us paying it, but he was unsure.
That's what it looks like. I don't think we have anything we'd be paying them for, but we'll get a hold of either Dave or Stacy Acker.
Okay. Well, I guess I'd entertain a motion to approve it upon the fact that we alleviate the concern that there's no other additional fees on top of the $350 a day.
I'll add that to my motion.
Okay. And then did we have a second on yours, Dwayne?
That I don't remember.
Okay, we got a motion from Sutton, second from
Hanson.
Okay, Hanson. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. Anything else, Mac?
Nope, that's all I have.
See, they're gonna have bull riding in Sioux Falls now, aren't they? Remember we were
Yeah.
talking about possibly having it here?
They've had that every year for a couple of years now.
Sioux Falls has?
Yeah,
You ever watch that on TV? That's not bad, that's pretty good
I went
stuff
to it
watch.
last year in Sioux Falls.
Did you? Did you go to it?
Yeah.
Okay, Gary, you got anything for us?
So did you want to talk about the policy manual on badges more?
Yeah. Did everybody get that language? The proposed policy manual change, making it a little stricter with the IDs being worn in the courthouse for security purposes. Anybody have any comments or questions on that?
Did everyone get my recommended change to the language, just to make it a little more generic?
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
For an easier flow.
One of the proposed additions is just sort of a phrase, it's not really a sentence, it just sort of hangs out there. Probably it should be tweaked a little bit to make sure that it's clear what's expected. State's Attorney's Office, has a little bit of concern. This is there to make it safer for employees, as I understand it. Provide some protection for employees.
Well, it's
Or what's the purpose of the name tags?
basically, I think, to identify, basically, is a big part of what Scott Lights was trying to get at, so that if there's somebody in the building that is an employee, that people know that that's an employee versus a citizen, I think is part of what he's striving for.
And you need to know that for what purpose?
I think his point is, once we start the locking the doors, that you don't have folks that aren't supposed to be where they're supposed to be. If they don't have a badge, they're not supposed to be in the interior of the offices, I believe is what his purpose was.
But different office holders are gonna let people in
Sure.
for various purposes without a badge anyway.
Yep.
Part of it was for if there was ever a lockdown situation too, that'd be the only way they could get into the building was with their badge. That's one of the things he was striving for.
I know that once the court system got serious about security for judges, one thing that they really stressed when we had all that training was you don't want to be wearing name tags identifying yourself as Judge so-and-so, because it puts kind of a target on you. And so you go to conferences, no name tags, no marquee, welcome judges, no rooms identified, judges meeting, that sort of thing. And I guess some of the concerns of the Deputy State Attorney, they don't want any kind of special exception, this is a concern, is they have to, the State Attorney's Office is nice and secure, but they have to walk from there upstairs to the courthouse, and coming in and out all the time are people that are here for criminal things, either convicted or facing charges, and they identify themselves then as, somebody that maybe is going to be the target of somebody's wrath or concern or whatever. And it's not like the building is locked down so only people that can get in are unarmed, like an airport. People can be bringing anything they want in if they want to risk charges. And so there's, if the concern is that we know who's here, maybe that makes some sense, but it's, how many lockdowns have we had? None. How many times do people have to walk from one place to another with a name tag on that may be a target of somebody wanting to be kind of ugly? Well, every day they're in that situation. So that's the only concern they had. And the sheriff said, he would be more than happy to check with some of the other counties, see exactly what they do, how they do it, what language they use, and stuff. And it, there's a lot of makes a lot of sense to have some sort of identification on you, whether it's displayed or not displayed. And he says, we just have to show our badges, but then again, we're carrying a gun. And so, identify themselves as law enforcement isn't such an issue as identifying somebody else as a prosecutor or something else where we're unarmed. So, anyway, that's just the concern.
Do you want to be armed?
Well, it'd be lovely, but probably the judges wouldn't go for that.
Well, and on a smaller scale, that argument could probably be made for any employee over here. You get mad at the assessor, you get mad at the treasurer, I mean...
It is, and so it's just something to
then
consider.
Maybe we put it off a week or two and see what we find out. And
Let Mark do a little research and see what some other counties do.
Sounds good, so we'll table that for a bit.
BMX, did you want to discuss that some more this week?
All right, anybody got thoughts on that?
Well, I think it has a value, and I think we need to to weigh how many square feet, how many acres, whatever is there, and put at least a reasonable value on it.
For the lease?
No, for the potential purchase, before we make a decision on the small piece. Take a look at the whole thing, because I know one of the concerns of the BMX community is that they're out trying to raise money to buy the Boys and Girls Club building, and they're concerned that if the BMX buys that property with the building on it and turns it into a parking lot, what assurance do they have that they'll always have access to the land that they're currently using if it's owned by the county? So they would like the opportunity to purchase it, or at least talk about purchasing it at a fair value.
And then he also told me if they did do that, their board has agreed with no problems that they would revert it back to the county if BMX would ever cease. And I like that part of it.
Is that if we gave it to them, or if they bought it?
If we gave it to them, or whatever, they really think as a board that it needs to revert back to the county because of the land nearby.
And I think that should be language that's put in, whether it's a gift or a purchase, that if they ever want to sell, that we have first right of refusal at the very least. So that they can't just go out and sell it to whomever.
And that came from Kyle, not from me.
Sure.
But they're just looking for us to discuss it and consider whether we would want to sell that property to them. And then we can also include the small piece that they requested last week for the building to sit on, the new gate facility.
Okay. Any other comments?
I think it has value.
I know, I'd rather lease it to them, not sell it.
And that's what we're currently doing. I mean, we
Yeah,
currently have a
exactly.
lease with them, but if we sell them that small piece...
We tried to
put
encourage them to
the
go out to the fairgrounds, I'd rather they did that.
Yep. And they like their location,
I
because
know.
a lot of kids can ride their bike to that facility versus clear out to the fairgrounds.
Well, it sounds
So
like,
just something to consider.
it sounds like the options are, you continue leasing it to them, you donate it to them, you sell them for a fair value, and I don't know what fair is. We got that email that said how much was it by square foot? The assessor's office had said?
Yeah, basically, they said you could kind of figure $2 per square foot.
So the track is 1.5 acres, which would be worth about $130,680, and the access parcel of .33 acres would be worth about $28,750 for a total of $159,430 without including the fenced area.
We originally gave that building they're selling to the Boys and Girls, or to the BMX, we gave it to the Boys and Girls Club. We gave them that with no conditions.
Right.
And
For the use of the youth in our county and our taxpayers. Our taxpayers gave it, not us.
And I have no problem helping out some of these groups that are doing that, but on the other hand, we gotta look out for the county first. And to me, I wouldn't give it. I mean, we have too many needs that the county has right now that giving away the limited few assets that we have just doesn't make sense to me. But, you know, if it's not an area that we're gonna use, I would look at, either leasing it or selling it, but, you know, I don't know if I'd be wanting to sell it either. We'd have to have a bigger discussion about that, so.
But the question that's on the table now is we were approached by them to sell them that, what's necessary. So that's gonna put a little island in the whole piece, depending on what we do there.
Right.
And I don't personally wanna have another situation where the county owns the land, and then there's a BMX building on top of it.
They can build on a leased site.
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of a gray area
It's
too,
not a good area.
we're already in one of those.
Well, I think it's only fair to them and us, though, to have the bigger conversation of what's gonna happen there in the next 5-10 years, you know? Would they even want that building there if we don't continue the lease with them every 3 years? You know, that would make no sense then. So we gotta have I think it's got to be part of the bigger conversation and not just the little piece, because we could say today, yeah, we'll lease that or sell that little piece to them, but then if we change our mind in 3 years after their contract's up, then we
The
have to
county
do...
may have other use for that someday too.
Or you might give it to the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, and no disrespect to our former commissioners, but I don't see why anybody would have ever given that away. For the use that it's being used for, yes, we could lease it to them, and I have kids that go to the Boys and Girls Club, and it's a great group. But on the other hand, when you have, like I said, such limited assets, limited buildings, and the county is just crunched right now for, you know, building more jail space, building umpteen other things, it's just, you know, I think we did the taxpayers a disservice back in the 80s. Any other comments? Do we...
Clear as mud.
Yeah, it is. It's never easy, but...
I think we just need to put it off at least for another week and just give, you know,
Yeah.
think about it and come back with maybe
Maybe a
some...
couple of us down the road meet here with Kyle and see what their
Would the
grand
purchase price
schemes are.
really affect what they're trying to do if we were to sell it to them? Would they, you think their funds would be ready and available if we sold it for a reasonable price? Or is that gonna slow down their process of what they're doing? I mean, we don't know that side of it, you know?
Right.
But they also need to know that, so when they raise the funds, they know where they're at, so I guess that's kinda where we're at.
It's a legitimate concern of those giving money,
Yeah.
because Boys and Girls Club's asking a pretty hefty price for that building.
Yes, they are.
Which doesn't seem right either, does it?
Well,
We give it to them and then...
the building's
That's
gonna
what
be
my
gone,
thought
and
was
it's gonna be a
also,
parking
plus we
lot.
gave them a bargain on the other, so, and we're asking for, looking at full appraisal price on this little patch. Kinda goes against my fairness issue.
Sounds good. Well, why don't we put it off a week and have some more discussion, and we'll go from there. Did you have anything else? Rick?
Just the one last thing was you wanted to discuss the window thickness a little bit for security reasons.
Yes. Did Scott send you guys the security deal?
Yes.
Okay. Did you guys have any thoughts on window thickness?
The option.
It's quite a bit more, wasn't it?
Yes. The recommendation from the folks in attendance was kind of that number, option 5. It's going to significantly increase it, but they thought, if we're going to do it, let's do it so it matters. But we didn't want to get too much into specifics of what protections they offer, just because we don't want to
Yeah, we
lay out
talked,
plans.
option 5 is the one we kind of agreed on.
Guess if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right.
Don't do it twice.
When it says 357 Magnum, does that mean one, a 357 will go through it or not go through it?
They,
I think it would protect them.
It's containment,
Yeah.
so containment laminate 357 Magnum, what?
so anyway, does anybody have, fine with 5, or do you...
If we're gonna make the expenditure, we might as well do it right the first time.
Right.
If safety is the issue, then
Okay. Do you think, do we need a motion on that, or just go back to the committee and say, bring that in the full proposal? Okay. We'll just give them our feedback that nobody seems to have an issue with that.
All right?
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's all I had.
All right. Anything from the commissioners in attendance today? Larry, do you have anything for us?
You know, a while back, you passed revision of the fair ordinance, and part of that had to do with coming up with a financial policy for reporting, you know, revenue and all that kind of stuff. And that's in the works, and we're at the point now where Derek's putting the finishing touches on it, talking to some of the vendors that sell tickets around the community to make sure that they're on board. And we met with the treasurer's office and stuff to make sure that everybody's on track. So I would expect to see that come in a week or two, and then you guys can kind of have at it. So.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else from the folks in attendance today? All right. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
so move.
Moved by Sutton, seconded by Feldheim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.